Happy Halloween, everybody. This is your daily tarot reading for Monday, the 31st of October, 2022. Thank you for joining me. Because it's Halloween, I want to use these three decks. I want to use the Tarot Familiars, Deviant Moon Tarot, although they're not traditionally associated with Halloween. They just seem kind of Halloween-y to me. And then the Halloween Oracle. I'm going to pull one card from each deck to see what this day is all about and what energy you'll be working with. So I hope you have some plans, or I hope you've had a nice weekend and there's been some fun and celebration in there. First card is the Five of Wands. Okay. Then we've got the Four of Swords. Okay. Interesting. And then finally, let's see. I like this deck. The back is so like cheerful and almost childlike, and then the cards in themselves are like skulls and like bones and stuff. It's a bit of a shock. You'll see in a second. Okay, first card, well, only card is, someone doesn't want to come out. Oh, got a vampire. We had a vampire yesterday. What are vampires about? Vampires, well, emotional vampires, first thing that comes to mind. So people who like take from you but don't really give anything in return. Then in the comments yesterday, someone mentioned something interesting, because yesterday the card was the Lovers, and we had this woman in bed and a vampire coming through the window. And the comment was really interesting. It said, it actually means she has a choice whether to invite the guy in or not. So that's what I'm getting here too via emotional intelligence. You have the opportunity and the wisdom and the ability to say, no, thank you. I don't need to buy into this conversation or these demands today. I see what's happening. I'm not buying into it. I'm not going to be hooked, and I don't engage. So that's the message I'm getting here, that you have a choice in terms of what emotional experiences you want to have here, which is interesting because the Five of Wands usually is depicted as five kids kind of knocking sticks together, and it's about play and fun and like harmless competition that teaches you about yourself and where you're at. And here we've got the Five Wands and then these books. So I think, first of all, information is something that you're going to be very good at. Dealing with information, getting organized, speaking up, getting the facts, research, presentation, teaching, anything like that, because the Five of Wands is fire and it has to do with life purpose and play, right? But here in this deck, the books have come out for a reason, and it's next to the Four of Swords, which is about contemplation and rest and asking for guidance and understanding. So I feel the gift of the day is your ability to understand and to make sense of things which have eluded you in the past, and then to act upon those despite any ongoing fears you may have or things that are still unclear. And the thing that you're able to avoid easily is any pointless emotion suckage that doesn't really benefit you in any way. Which sometimes is hard to recognize and to avoid. Okay, so the Five of Wands, connecting with other people is implied, because the Five of Wands, I mean, if there's no one to compete with, then there's no competition, right? There's no mirror being held up to you. So you do have the potential to work very well and with others, and it's probably because you're emotionally so intelligent and you're able to pick and choose what to avoid, not to get into. And also, if you're in a kind of senior position and you're delegating, then you're able to assign things that people are going to be happy with, and where there isn't a lot of negative response to what you're doing, because you're considering other people. You know, being emotionally intelligent also, to me, part of it is anticipating how someone is going to react. You don't know all the time how that's going to happen, but sometimes you get an inkling that, oh, they may not be so happy with this. So if you're seeing those kind of things, which the cards are saying you will on this day, then you're able to plan for that and choose a different option, which then isn't going to cause the same response. So that means you're very tuned into other people. You can get on well with other people. So any difficult conversations or challenging connections, you'll be able to navigate and manage very well and easily, and in fact, even learn from and come out of them better and more knowledgeable. Next, the Four of Swords. we've got this figure kind of underground here. The moon is just rising or setting. We've got these swords. It's kind of like we've got all these roses, so it's like love that's lost to me, it seems. So, like I said, usually it's about asking for guidance for help. This is saying that if there's emotional pain or despair, the answer isn't to, oh, this is very specific now about relationships. So if you have had a horrible experience in one of your romantic relationships, particularly, I'm saying that because of all the roses, passion and love, then, I don't know, in my experience, what I've done is I've said, okay, I'm just going to try again and see if it works out with someone else. But then the problem has been a similar person has come into my life and the same thing has happened again. So these two cards are saying to me, there may be a tendency to repeat negative emotional patterns in your life where you've been there, done that. You don't need to do it again, really. And also this emotional intelligence allows you to see that pattern and not to feed into it again and to try again. What's the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And here, you're not insane, you're intelligent, and you recognize an opportunity to repeat certain things that don't have a happy end. And I feel you're free and liberated from it, and you don't need to go there anymore. Because all those patterns we've got in our lives, most of us do those because we don't know any better, and they're helping us in some way. You know, I was at a meeting recently and I heard someone say, you know, thank God I took drugs because that's what helped me survive. That got me thinking, you know, because that's like, okay, I'm going to take something that's inherently toxic and destructive as a crutch, as a coping mechanism. It's just so tragic that it then creates another problem. But it made me look at it a certain way. And you don't need a crutch anymore on this day. You're strong, you're informed, you're aware of what you don't want. And because of that, the information, like, I think you're really a machine in terms of your thinking here. You're super on point. And if you come to a certain conclusion or understanding, once you've informed yourself, please stick to that understanding. It's very likely that you're right, emotionally and intellectually. So what's being highlighted by the cards are your intellect, your ability to choose, to decide, to use information, to communicate, to do that well, and to restructure yourself in a position of strength and contentment and rest that is unshakable by other people. So you're really not at risk of having the wool pulled over your eyes today, or buying into some nonsense, or being bamboozled. There's no chance of that. Your intuition is too strong. You're too switched on. So deal with anything that requires all of your concentration, all of your attention, and all of your brain power. You'll really be able to knock that out of the park today. Amazing. Okay, so vampire, what number should I give this? Well, what's the opposite of 9? Because 9 is the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new one. It's change. A vampire is fundamentally unable to change, which is annoying in itself. If you're talking to someone who never learns anything, just check in with how you feel. It won't be rosy and sunny. So opposite, well, that's the 6 then, I suppose, if you turn the number upside down. 6 in itself is an opportunity, a temporary opportunity. So in this case, it's avoiding a temporary blip, something that really could throw a spanner in the works, lead you down the wrong path. You have the opportunity to avoid that today. So we're avoiding this. So I'm not going to count that in the numbers. I'm just going to look at 4 and 5 is 9. Oh, wow. 4 and 5, is it? 4 and 5 is 9. 9 is spirituality and completion. So other people may not change and are unwilling to change and keep hammering in on the same thing, but you're willing to change. So you see that inherent difference, and you don't need a difference, and you don't need to waste your breath or your energy anymore on things which are just time suckage and emotion suckage. So that in itself may be the cycle that you complete here today, that you no longer entertain situations which are fundamentally toxic to you and which you've humored in the past because you thought you were being nice or not judgmental. But now that you feel or have been poisoned for the 8th time, you're like, enough already. So that's what I get. It's very like direct, crystal clear, very kind of black or white this. So if things are always grey and they don't make sense, they certainly will here on this day. So I hope you have a fabulous Halloween. Oh yeah, if you're going to a party or if you're going out, then there's the potential to have a wonderful time and to really connect in a way that's meaningful, and again, to avoid people who you don't think are going to benefit you in any way. Okay, so if you're going to an event or something, have a great time. If you'd like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on book your reading to audio reading with me. And I use astrology, the tarot, and numerology in my personal reading. So if you want me to have a look at your circumstances or what's coming up, life purpose, relationships, relationship with institutions or spirituality or growth or development. If you have any questions, please do get in touch with me for a personal reading. And if you like this video, then give it a thumbs up. Please hit subscribe and share the video online. Have an amazing day, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.